because my fan's been on this whole time. Fun times. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. It is so dark and miserable outside. I'm using all the lights I own to try and save the lighting of this video. We'll see what happens. So today's book is The Last Anniversary by Liane Moriarty. I've read a few Liane Moriarty books now and I like her. I like her books. They've always got a nice little mystery going on. So let's get straight in with that blurb and then I will tell you about this book. One abandoned baby, two sisters with a secret, one chance to rewrite the past. Over 70 years have passed since sisters Rose and Connie Doughty found an abandoned baby near their home on the island of Scribbly Gum. With no one to take care of it, Rose and Connie took the baby in as their own. Since then, the Monroe baby mystery has brought fame and fortune, putting Scribbly Gum on the tourist map, especially for the island's annual celebration. But now, with Connie dead and outsider Sophie Honeywell about to move into her home, Rose begins to wonder if they made the right decision all those years ago. How much longer can they cover up the lie that has sustained their community for generations? And what other secrets are about to be revealed? This is 448 pages in Australian fiction, general fiction and romance and contemporary. I don't know why mystery isn't in there. I could not stop reading this book. Every single time I had to put it down, I was just like, what is going to happen next? Like, seriously, what is this big mystery? And I'll admit, through all of it, when the twist happened, it was just like, why did I not see this coming? Because you're told all along that the sisters had a plan to tell everybody, family related, when they turned 40. So the baby that was found, they named Enigma. They named the baby Enigma, and this happened back in the 30s. Enigma was very old at this point. Enigma was found as a baby by Rose and Connie when they were teenagers. Rose was 16 and then Connie was the older sister, I believe. And you find out a lot of flashbacks. You've also seen it from the point of view of Sophie Honeywell, who was almost engaged to, is it Rose's? No, it's Connie's grandson. It spans generations, this book. Because you've got the original mystery with Rose, Connie and baby Enigma, who is now a grandma, and a great grandmother, and then you've got her kids and then their kids. So it was Thomas that Sophie had a relationship with, and then just when Thomas was getting ready to propose, Sophie said, actually, I think we need to break up. So Sophie did not know this engagement was coming, and she thinks that if she had known it was coming, or she hadn't chosen that day to break up with him, she probably would have said yes. But then afterwards, Thomas went off and married a woman called Deborah and had a daughter called Lily. And so Sophie is now 39 years old, and she has found herself still connected to the family, because when Connie dies, she leaves her house on Scribbly Gum to Sophie. And so then you've got the rest of the family trying to understand why this house has gone to Sophie. Sophie is essentially a member of the family now that she lives in the house, and you see little very short chapters, like less than a page long, of conversations that Rose and Connie had when Connie was still alive, and other conversations from other characters, including like their children, who are now parents, talking about the mystery and how at the age of 40 that they find out the truth about what happened. And you're just like, so what actually did happen on the day that Connie and Rose found the baby? So you've got a full-on mystery into the fact that when they took in baby Enigma, the idea is that they went into a house that was owned by their father, that it was a Jack and Alice were renting from their father. They went over to have tea with them, and apparently there was the cake was still on the side, the kettle was boiling, but there was no sign of Jack and Alice. And so Rose and Connie thought, well, we can't abandon this baby, so we will just bring it up. But throughout the book you realise that's not quite what happened, but you don't know what. That's the big mystery of this story, is finding out exactly what happened on the day that baby Enigma was found alone in the house. What actually happened to Jack and Alice, and why is it on their 40th birthdays that they're going to find out? Like, what is so magic about turning 40? And also, because Connie is 39, you know that she will find out the answer in this book, you know? You know her 40th birthday is looming, so you're just like, now that she's considered family, even though she broke up with Thomas, Connie has left Sophie the house, and so Sophie is brought into some of the family secrets, including learning about the tour of the house and the annual celebration, and finding all out secrets about those, and talking about like the marble cake that they have on the tours, and just like it's said to be made to Alice's recipe. And then they go in and say, well, actually everybody has their own version of this cake, and so you'll have to make it when you do the tours. And so she finds out little secrets there of finding out that yes, this is a business, and all these things which she had been obsessed with, because you find out that Sophie has been obsessed with this mystery since she was a child. So when she did end up dating Thomas, there is the question put in your mind of, did she seek Thomas out on purpose, or was it just a happy accident that she ended up with Thomas, and who was family is at the heart of this mystery? It is fascinating, and to be honest, because it's like what happened to Jack and Alice, Monroe, that's the surname, it came back to me. And so you are getting just little chapters throughout that imply that not everything is as it seems. You are also looking at the grandchildren. So in other words, Thomas and his siblings. So there you've got Thomas, Veronica and Grace. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in this story to track. I feel like I need a family tree at the beginning of this to keep on top of everything. But then through Grace's storyline, you're seeing a woman who is dealing with postpartum depression. She's just had a child. She's got a baby boy. And you see her throughout the book getting extremely depressed. But she does not know that she has postpartum depression. As far as she's concerned, as far as Grace is concerned, she does not love her child. And she's there going, you know, a lot of people say how instantaneous it is to fall in love with the baby you've given birth to, and she didn't feel anything, and she feels like her baby hates her. And you see her really go very far into her depression, trigger warning for attempted suicide in this book. You see her trying to make plans for killing herself, and she sees that Sophie and her husband seem to get along really well, and so she tries to push them together, thinking that Sophie and her husband and her child would be a better family than Grace staying around. That side of the story is really, really sad and really hard to read at times, because you just see Grace plummet. You just see her entire world cave in on itself, because she feels like she doesn't love her baby, she doesn't feel good enough for her husband, and you just see her mental health go right down throughout the story, to the point where she is making plans and figuring out what will happen when she's gone. She's trying to plan for the people around her when she's gone. Throughout the book, when you are getting all these different points of view, whenever it came back to Grace's storyline, I was just like, please don't do it. I felt so bad for her. And then you've also got the storyline with Veronica, who is so angry when she finds out that Sophie has been given Connie's house. And Sophie and Veronica used to be really good friends when Sophie was going out with Thomas. So yeah, I'm still processing it, even though I finished reading this a couple of days ago. It's just like everyone in this family has a secret. Ooh, did this have a different title at one point? I just seen a quote that says The Husband's Secret is a staggeringly brilliant novel. But this says The Last Anniversary because it's the last anniversary before everything comes out. No, The Husband's Secret is a different book. Yeah, somebody's put it under the wrong one. There is a separate book called The Husband's Secret, but it's not this one. So it looks like that quote has made it onto the wrong book. It's been exactly 70 years since Enigma was found in the house. So yeah, they are celebrating 70 years with this anniversary, and throughout the story you find out that now that Connie has passed away, that Rose doesn't really want to do it again. Enigma has basically ridden the coattails of this mystery her entire life, and so Enigma doesn't really want it to be the last one. But yeah, I could not put it down. I really wanted to know what the mystery was, and it flips the narrative quite a lot, because it goes from first person to third person, and like when you actually find out from Rose what actually happens, it goes from like normal quotation marks for what she's saying, and then it goes into a first person prose from Rose, but without any quotation marks. So yeah, so you basically have like almost a full chapter from Rose's point of view telling the story, but it's not in quotation marks. It doesn't have that grammar to it. So yeah, it really does flip how it's told quite a lot, but it's not to the point where you don't understand what's going on, but the way that that flip happens, I don't think I've actually read books that actually do that. I've read books that are entirely without the grammar and the quotation marks. I've heard it's quite an Irish way of writing. Some people say no, it's just bad grammar, which I laugh at. But it is a certain style of writing which does not include grammar and quotation marks, which, for me, I've read books that do that. One of them I didn't like, but I think that was more the story. And then I read Freckles by... oh, who wrote Freckles? And again, another Irish writer. But she didn't... was that a Cecilia Ahern book? But yeah, Freckles was written like that, where it had no quotation marks. But for me, it didn't affect the way I read it, because I really enjoyed that book. So for a book that was a slow burn and not much really happened plot-wise, I was amazed how much I enjoyed Freckles, because I remember not wanting to put that down. Like, I was continuously reading that book because of how good it was. But yeah, with this book, the fact that it flips between the two of being in the first person and the third person, I've never read a book that does it quite like this book does it. Because I've read books obviously where you get you get your main character where it's done in the first person, and then you get chapters in the third person from other people, and then it comes back to that first person narrative because of which character you are actually following. This, it just depends on the point of view. So you can start off with it saying like, we are now going into Rose's chapters, and it'll do that in the third person, and then it'll go into the internal thinking of Rose in the first person, but without quotation marks. Does that make any sense as to how this book is written? On the surface that can sound quite confusing, but as you're reading it, it doesn't feel as confusing when you're actually reading it. But yeah, I love the mystery. I love the throwbacks to other mysteries that are mentioned, which are then wrapped up. I just really enjoyed it, and I really like the mystery. The fact that you're constantly told that what happened to Jack and Alice is not as presented by Rose and Connie. And so you know throughout the book that what they're saying isn't completely true, but you just don't know how and why. And then you also know that because Sophie is about to turn 40, and the fact that she has been brought into this family by Connie leaving her the house, you know that she will get the story at some point in the story. And then you've just got all the events that happen at the last anniversary, and it's just this build-up of all the different characters to a point where there is a literal, almost explosion of everything at the anniversary. I'll admit, in regards to Veronica's secret, I should have seen that one coming. I really should have done, based on how they paint the relationship between Veronica and Sophie from when Sophie was dating Thomas, and then how Veronica reacted to Sophie getting the house after they broke it up. I'm surprised that that one flew me by, but I think it's because there was so much stuff happening that it does pass you by slightly. So then when Veronica's mystery does come out, when her secret comes out, you're like, oh. But yeah, just so much happened. At times it was just slightly hard to follow because of the different threads going through, because you are following so many people. But ultimately it was a really good story that really does keep you on your toes. Definitely a page turner. I wouldn't call this a slow burn at all. For me, it really was enough to keep me going. The fact that primarily you are seeing it from Sophie's point of view as an outsider who was obsessed with the mystery. So it kind of puts you in her shoes with the fact that Sophie is the main person you're following. And then through that you do get your other chapter where you're just like, oh, everybody in this family has a secret. Not just the original secret that Connie and Rose have from when they found Enigma. I love the fact that her name's Enigma. At first it was just like, really? But then as the story goes through, you're just like, there's no other name that this woman could have gotten through life with. She is Baby Enigma. She is Grandma Enigma. That's the only thing that makes sense now. But yeah, The Last Anniversary, Liane Moriarty. If you like a good mystery, if you like a good page turner, if you like Liane Moriarty, I really, really enjoyed this book. The Last Anniversary, Liane Moriarty. And there's your front cover. Yeah. The fact that there's also a romance in there as well of Sophie trying to figure out who Aunt Connie was trying to set her up with, and you've got all these eligible bachelors going through, and yeah, she's just trying to figure out who is this person that Connie wanted to set me up with. And then you realise that Connie wasn't really the brightest one, really, even though ultimately it was all her idea. You realise that she wasn't always as on the ball as everybody else thought she was. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, I will see you on Sunday for a Series Sunday video. Stay safe, everybody. Love you all. Bye.